Hey there, Travis from IntelligentChoice here. So today we're going to be diving into AWS, but in a way that more so makes sense. So let's be real, when most people explain AWS, it's just jargon overload. Lambda, EC2, Bedrock, and your brain sort of just goes, no way, this is just information overload. So what I'm going to be doing today is breaking it down into sort of three core parts of this video. So first we're going to be looking at the AWS foundation, so more so the infrastructure. On top of that, we're going to talk about the AI layer, and then we're going to bring it all together with a nice sort of story to make it all click. So let's get into it. So AWS is basically the cloud version of everything businesses use to run on physical servers. So it's set it's scalable, flexible, and without you ever having to touch the hardware. So you don't have to buy servers and maintain them. You just tell AWS what you need, and it runs and stores and scales it for you. So at its core, AWS is built on three pillars, right? So the first is compute. So this is just your horsepower. It runs applications, automates processes, and does AI training. So you've got a couple options here with Amazon. You've got EC2, which is basically you manage the server environment yourself, which allows you to have a lot more processing power and do bigger tasks. And then you've got Lambda, which is serverless, which only runs when you need it. So from small workloads to training an AI model, AWS scales automatically. Next is storage, and for this, Amazon offer a product called S3. So basically this is where your data lives. Documents, logs, backups, everything. Think of it like S3 is an infinite cloud warehouse for your data. And it also has tiers, so data that you instantly need versus stuff which is in archives, and then also stuff that can be buried right down in the Antarctic essentially. Finally, you've got database and analytics. So this is where your data is structured, queried, and understood. So you've got a couple of things here. So you've got RWS, which is relational data, DynamoDB, which is lightning fast, no SQL, and then Redshift, which does analytics at scale. Really, the fact is that AI is nothing without good data, and this is the foundation for any real successful business that wants to leverage AI in the future. So really, that's the infrastructure of AWS. Now let's jump into the exciting part, which is the AI intelligence which is laid on top of it. Alright, so this is where AWS goes from storage and servers to smart systems and automation. You've got three big components here. So first is Bedrock. So these are pre-trained AI models, or what I call out-of-the-box solutions. So these are great for chatbot, summarization, search, and content generation. No training's needed. You just plug them in and let them do their thing. Next, we've got SageMaker. So this is your own custom AI, which you train yourself. So this is when you need proprietary knowledge, industry logic, and tailored behavior in order to create the solution. So SageMaker fine-tunes models using your own data. So what I want you to do is sort of think about Bedrock as sort of the smart defaults, whereas SageMaker is that secret sauce that delivers those highly personalized industry-specific solutions to your customers. Finally, there's Lambda, and this is sort of the missing piece, and I like to call it the orchestrator. So Lambda is what turns AI into a working system, not just a model. It receives the request, it understands intent, and then decides what happens next. It picks the models, applies guardrails in place, and formats the output to help handle the workflow logic. So think of Lambda like it's almost the director which is coordinating the entire show. So what I want to do now is jump in and show this an example. Right, so imagine you and your partner walk into a restaurant for your anniversary dinner. So it's a very special evening. You step up to the front host and you check in with your reservation. So what I want you all to do with this example is try to find a way to connect the dots between the dining experience at the restaurant, and how we would set up an AWS workflow. So let's jump into that now. Right, so the first step here is Amazon Lex, or what we would just call the waiter. So their job is to hear intent from the customer, so they would tell them about the specials at the restaurant, take their food and drinks orders, and also understand any special dietary requirements. And what they'll do is they would pass those requests forward to the head chef at the pass. So that's step 2, which is Lambda. So Lambda looks at all of these requests and decides, okay, is this a simple dish so I can send that to Bedrock, or is this more of a custom dish which I'll need to send to SageMaker, our specialist maker? So you also from that would be able to tell with the dietary requirements as well. Do we need to call a database perhaps to get those special ingredients so they don't have an allergic reaction? Lambda routes everything, which is the job of the head chef. They're orchestrating everything. The next step is Bedrock and SageMaker, or the kitchen. So Bedrock is more the line chef, so they're fast, they're trained in doing the common dishes, and they already know all those recipes. SageMaker, on the other hand, is like your specialist chef, so they do all the custom dishes with your secret ingredients or the data that you've trained that model on, premium orders, and also they do the dietary restrictions. So SageMaker handles all of that. Finally, after the dishes have been completed, they'll go back to the pass where it's Lambda again and the head chef to do those final quality checks. So you check the safety, the presentation of the dishes, and making sure that it upholds the rules and standards of the restaurant. So labour really ensures that the output is safe, is accurate, compliant, and polished. Finally, the meal is served to the customers and you're delivering them a hyper-personalised experience, which hopefully for their anniversary will be a very memorable evening. They don't see the kitchen, they see the results. So AWS, it isn't magic, it's a modular kitchen which is for building AI systems. You choose the chefs, you design the workflows, and create a very personalised special experience. Right, so to wrap things up here, let's just take a quick look at the strengths and trade-offs of AWS. So firstly, it's got maximum flexibility and scalability. You can tell this from the cloud infrastructure that we covered early on in the video. We've got both plug and play and fully custom AI paths as well. So you've got Bedrock and SageMaker, and it's really perfect for enterprise-grade tailored intelligence. The trade-offs here is that you've got more moving parts than the package solutions like Salesforce, for instance. It requires a lot of architectural thinking in order to do it well, so setting up all of those workflows and making sure that you've got the data set up and all the guardrails in place. And so it creates a far higher learning curve for anybody looking to adopt it, but the payoff is definitely there. Really, that's the power of AWS. You don't just use AI, you engineer it. So from Bedrock models to custom SageMaker pipelines, you design the logic, the workflows, and AWS scales it almost like it's nothing. So in the next episode, we're going to jump into Google Gemini. So the same mission, but a very different flavor of intelligence. And if you're building on AWS or thinking about it, please drop a comment below. I'd love to hear about your journey. And if you want to explore this world of massive opportunity further, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. And until then, I'll catch you in the next one.